What role do our hearts play in accessing higher realms of consciousness and creating the life that we want that feels joyful?
There are 8 paths towards accessing consciousness, as demonstrated appropriately through the paths of Eastern Yoga. The heart tends to be your final path. But what if it were your first path? What if the heart is something that you can understand, is not just an organ within your body, but it is the eternal life force of the consciousness of creation? It is everything, and breath guides you into it. Be mindful of the laws of your universe, the karmic law of thought, the karmic law of feeling, the karmic law of speech, and the karmic law of action. If your heart is in the right place, the thoughts will be loving. The vibration in your emotional frequencies will be loving. Train your thoughts, train your mind with compassion, and then the heart will guide everything.
Depending upon our soul contracts, an awakening could happen at any time. Mine just happened to be at that age for whatever reason that my soul deemed it be. So sometimes I cry. I remember George Nori asking me that question, and I was with him at Gaia, and there was like at the beginning of the interview, and it's like, here I go crying because he's talking about that. And he also talked about like how I felt as a child after it. And I also wanted to cry because I remember feeling so lonely. That my awakening experience was beautiful, but a little bit overwhelming because I'm 5 and my ceiling opens up and the cosmos are there. The entirety of the universe is there, and beings are around me in my room, and I don't know who they are, but I feel so much love. And there's this paradoxical feeling of, how do I even tell anybody this? Like, I'm from a Southern Baptist family, and they might say that I'm possessed or I'm going to hell. Like, I had the wherewithal as a 5-year-old to know that my parents might say it's bad, and my grandfather might say I'm possessed, and my grandmother might say it's false prophecy. Like, all of those feelings were happening. And then I had friends that I lost. I felt so lonely in the experience, some people were afraid of me. And
yeah,
it's not that easy to have it your whole life, because then you're always like, I felt like I was always explaining myself and just trying to have a normal friendship or a normal connection with people.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And I know that at times in mediumship, you experience, how people die. I think a lot of people are jealous of channelers or mediums or people who have, what would be defined as some kind of extra sensory or some kind of ability. But how do you end up carrying all of that? And what's it like? And when do you get to the point where I know at a certain point you had more of a conscious choice of who you were going to channel. What's the path of all of that, and how does that manifest?
My choices were presented to me at a very young age, and all of these guides and guardians and ancestors were around. And, Jesus is my primary guide still to this very day. And he said, choose some. So I remember choosing him and Heylel. I remember choosing the council. I had multiple councils that were there, and I chose the Council of 9 at that age as well. And I wanted to get to know them. And, I'm 5, so I just kind of want to make buddies. I'm like, you seem cool. And what's your name? Oh, I like the braids in your hair. Katara, she has like these wild shamanic braids everywhere. And I was fascinated by them. And I wanted to, when I was upset, she would say, you know what, you can rebraid my hair if you want to. And I made friends with these beings. And I think my parents at first thought it was just like, oh, she has imaginary buddies. But it's different when you come forward and you're like, it's Jesus, and your grandfather says, please don't ever say that to me again. Don't ever say that, because who are you to do that? And why would he choose a 5-year-old? I mean, come on, like, don't say that. Your imagination is getting the best of you. And there was like that kind of experience with it as well. But and insofar as what you're saying with handling mystical abilities, that's a unique thing, because I feel like I wanted to get to know them all. I feel like I didn't want to choose them all. And in terms of like just one, like choose one, I want to choose them all.
Right.
I didn't want to choose like just 1 or 2 or 3. And as I got older, the council said, you're going to become our primary ambassador, and other people can do this. We will talk to anyone, but you're going to be our voice. So we're going to train you for that. And you also have to understand that you are an ambassador, but it doesn't make you special. It doesn't make you different. You do have these abilities, but it doesn't set you apart from others. You're here for relatability and connection, which has been the hardest journey as a channel is really relatability and connection.
Yeah, tell me more what you mean by that.
Well, as a mystic and a spiritual teacher as well, what I've been taught by the council and a lot of different ascended masters that work through me, particularly the Raw group, is that we're not meant to like utilize our abilities to set us apart. We're meant to find relatability in natural connection, and my connection is natural to me, but it's not natural for everyone. So there are a lot of different types of abilities that are absolutely underrated, and people don't talk about them because the spiritual community wants to discuss clairvoyance and clairaudience and clairsentience and claircognizance and all different types of thought transmissions and telepathic response and some of the most natural abilities. You know, like claircognizance, clear knowing. You don't need the senses. You don't need to see or hear. Clairsentience, feeling that, getting a download into your heart space that you just feel an absolute love and connection and you know a truth. That is so underrated and undiscussed, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And it's something that I tell people, look, it's yes, of course you can train into the clairs, but right now the council has made it clear that like less than 5% of the human population is born with or has younger experiences with awakening with the clairs, and that's okay. So this idea that we have to see something external, hear something external, is a bit of a misnomer because God isn't external. So cosmic consciousness is internal. Right. And the oneness of that is so beautiful. And sometimes I feel sad because I want the world to understand that you don't need to validate your essence of who you are and your connection to source by waiting to see and hear, because those are senses, they're external.
I love what you're saying. I feel like it's a manifestation of our, there's a lot now of projecting externally. We're looking at people in all different social media. It always feels like someone's having a better experience. And I think this can be an extension of that. I wish
Yeah.
I could do that. I wish I was this. And the most important thing, I love that you're saying this. I feel like no one ever really discusses this, like you're saying, as the most beautiful gift. We're missing all of the internal things and projecting just another form of jealousy onto somebody who can have this spiritual ability that I don't have. So I love that.
Um, I also feel like something that when I was working with the female apostles and disciples of Jesus, I had like 2 months on my Patreon channel of just working with just the females. And it was one of the most beautiful experiences that I've ever had. And Mary Magdalene said, tell people about that. Tell people don't confuse the mystical experience for the mystery. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, in the modern world, many people are going around longing and feeling such a disconnect, like waiting on something external to happen to evidence and validate God. God is source connection, consciousness, when that's just a mystical experience. It could be for a time. It could be just an initiation, and it's going to go away. I'm not not everybody is going to be walking around seeing and hearing, because that could cause spiritual schizophrenia. That could cause fractionalizing of your mind. That could cause dark night of the soul that doesn't go away. I've been trained to handle this. It doesn't make me special. It's just what happened, right? I probably wouldn't have chosen it if I had known it in advance, but apparently some level of my soul did choose it. And there have been a lot of dark night of the souls that accompany it when those visions just stop sometimes. And then I'm forced to just be with myself and be with my thoughts and be with my fears and be with my negative beliefs, be with how I judge, be with my attachments, like a normal human. And then I'm like, but I just want to see and hear. And then I would get sad that it wasn't there. And I have had those same dark night of the soul mystical initiations where I grieved and became angry and got frustrated and screamed at God and screamed at my guides. And I'm like, but you gave me this, so why did it have to go away? And then they're like, because that was your initiation, for it to go away and for you to love yourself in the way that we love you. So then I was given a prayer by Jesus. He said, this is what I want you to pray when you feel that way. Just pray, not in any religious facet. Prayer is a lifeline where you're just talking to God, talking to your soul, talking to your higher self, talking to consciousness like a best friend. He said, just talk that way to me. That's what prayer is. Just pray this prayer. Just say to me, where art thou? Where art thou? In this moment, I feel a loss. I feel separation, and I know it's not true, but my mind thinks it is. Like he taught me to pray in the most simple facet where I had to get outside of religious trauma and all the different fears of being away from God and also being right in what people know as God. So he taught me just to ask, just to stop and just say, okay, I'm feeling separate. I'm feeling lost. I'm feeling stuck. I feel that I don't belong anywhere. Where art thou, O God? Why hast thou forsaken me? Like those are prayers. That wasn't just Jesus being afraid and showing a weak moment. Like that was like a vulnerable moment where the Christ consciousness can come in because we're not meant to be alone. And this idea that we could just do everything alone and hold all of our pain alone was just so terrifying as a young child and as an adult. So he taught me to just stop, and talk to God. And when I worked with all the feminine beings there, the female apostles, they were so amazing as well, just to be able to sit with them and hear their stories. They taught the same thing. They taught, why are you looking for God in separation? So they taught me to pray, where did I separate God in this moment? Spiritual inquiry was the first thing they taught me. How did I separate God in this moment? I wonder how that was working for me. Did it serve me? How is it serving me? Oh, it's not?
Hmm.
Can I imagine something different? They taught me to utilize my imagination as a vehicle of wonder, to get curious, to ask questions. You have a mystical experience. Someone's coming to you. Great. But so many of my students come to me and they're like, what does that mean? Like, you didn't stop to ask? Spiritual inquiry is incredible. If you have an experience, stop and say, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Can you tell me more? What does it mean? What does it mean to me? Right? It's like we're all just waiting to be told who we are. But what about when we're asking ourselves and the guides that are giving the messages? And from a deeper perspective, what if those guides that are giving the messages are us all along and we just don't remember?
Reflects of some of what I was thinking about asking you. I think as a form of this kind of the way that we project all the time our own insides against other people's outsides, we assume that people that are channeling or doing things like that, they're never having moments of humanity. They're never, oh my God, I ate too many cookies. I'm struggling with my husband. That once you get these downloads, you must be this being of perfection and not
Mm,
struggling like the rest of us. And I've come to learn that that is not true for everyone, and everyone that I think is living some perfect life that I'm usually just making up. So it seems like it's a lot about the integration and not being jealous, not only of others, but of ourselves in these moments, because we've all had them, those moments where you were in meditation and you had this beautiful experience, and then you're always trying to get back to that. And you can really ruin those moments of
mhm,
beauty by wanting to be essentially somewhere else, someone else,
mhm,
yourself in a past moment. So it seems like it's about integration. And I loved all of those
mhm.
questions. Is there any other way? Because I think it would be helpful to anybody, whether I noticed too, people have experiences, let's say with plant medicine, and then you have these magical experiences, and
Yeah.
then you get lost again because you
Mhm.
are always searching for some big bang or bright light. And it can't be like that all the time. It's just not. So, how would you advise that people, besides you offered some really great things in those questions, is there anything else you do to just integrate and enjoy those moments of actual humanity in between the
Mhm.
awakenings?
Mhm. Um, a lot of times breath is the key for that. We place so much function into modality practices, but what if our body is a metering measuring point, a measuring device, a barometer for the heart. And when we breathe, the body is going to tell you what's going on. The body's going to tell you, okay, I feel this way and it doesn't feel great. But most of us are so busy just pushing past the body. Oh, you don't feel good? Well, I have things to do. You know, I'm sorry you feel that way, but
We gotta go.
kids, I have to go work out then, and then we have this, and then we have that. But what if we just gave ourselves 30 seconds? I remember once when I channeled Yogananda, and he said, if we sit properly and roll our shoulders back and breathe up and down the spine and let the breath really honor the body for 30 seconds, the whole world would be at peace if all of us did that every day. And we're always looking for something more magical, more show me God, like lightning from the sky. Believe me, mine never goes away. There's no off button for me. When I have hard times, it's been hard for me to just sit with that, and breath has been key. Like that's why the channel brought the one technique, because the one technique was a way to reset your brain into oneness and make it coherent with your heart. But the breath is the master of that, because breath is spirit. Breath is essence. You can't live without it. It is pure consciousness. It's pure loving high vibration. And we have that gift, you know? So that's why the council brought forth the one technique, to be able to teach us how to reset our brain with the breath. And once the brain is reset into oneness and all the negative synapsing that occurs from fear goes away, and we're saying the word one while we're breathing in this technique, it's a Kriya, but it's unlike any other Kriya because it combines so much, and yet it's so simple, and you can do it in less than 30 seconds and reset your entire brain and getting out of those negative belief systems, connecting your brain to your heart, giving your heart permission to feel what it needs to feel, giving your heart permission to activate its true brain. And it's just so beautiful. All you have to do is breathe up the spine through your nose, breathe in. And while you're breathing in slowly, you're going to be saying the word one, not the number, but imagining the word one and saying the word one over and over and over again. Every time you move up a chakra system, say one, 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 every time. And then when it gets up here, breath retention. Pretend you have a big golden helmet on and it's retaining everything, pressing into the brain. Hold your breath for a few seconds and then exhale slowly back down the spine, grounding into Mother Earth. That's it. That's all that you have to do, which sometimes is so, it's a relief for me, because you know how sometimes when anxiety gets hard and things get harder, something catches you kind of, you know, in some hard time in your life where you're not expecting something, it comes out of left field and you're like, whoa, hard things. And I thought I was in a good space, and we're so hard on ourselves. We're so judgmental. We're like, but God, I was doing great. Universe, what's going on? Why? And like the ego likes to do that. So instead of doing that, I just do the one technique. And then if I want to cry, I sit and I cry. If I want to get angry, I sit and I breathe, and that anger gets redirected into a creative activity that is harmless to others and myself. As opposed to saying I don't get the right to be angry or I shouldn't cry. It's probably still going to happen anyway, and it often does, but it's just going to be redirected into something that serves.
You gave us the instructions. Would you be willing to just guide a little bit of this, of the one?
So the only thing you're going to do is like go to the base of your spine and breathe in slowly and say one. Every time your breath moves up a chakra system, you're going to say one in your mind. When you reach the top of your head, hold it for 3 seconds. Imagine a golden helmet retaining and pressing into your brain. And then exhale one slow, deep breath all the way back down the spine and into the earth like an anchor. That's it. Now your brain is reset, no fear. All the synapsing, everything that was formerly there goes away, because when you're saying one, it's oneness. That is God. That is consciousness. That is everything. And your brain is like, oh, God mind, it connects you to the God mind, then the God mind takes over little mind. Little mind goes straight to the brain that's in the heart, and then that heart does what it needs to do. If it needs to grieve, if it's going to grieve. If it needs to get mad, it's going to get mad. It's not going to bypass. It's going to allow you to actually integrate what you need to integrate, and it does it on its own. It doesn't. You don't have to go through my Ascension toolkit. You don't have to go chase your negative beliefs. You don't have to do anything. Like, your heart knows. It's quick. And because you give yourself that heart permission to feel, it is going to feel and it is going to heal.
I loved that. Thank you so much.
It requires the grace of faith. It requires belief. Because if you have like a conscious or subconscious belief that says, but I need to go chase down my beliefs and do a bunch of shadow work, the only thing the one technique is going to do is give you a gentle rest, which is also super helpful.
Yeah.
You know, psychic energy hygiene is going to ground, purify, cleanse, protect, all that stuff that we need. But if you have a subconscious, deeper belief or conscious belief that's so strong that says, but I need to go to a shaman, but I need to do ayahuasca, if that's stronger, you still will need that.
Yeah.
But this can help you through that.
Yeah.
But be mindful of beliefs. Like, if you believe that you're going to need a whole past life regression process, that's why there are millions of past life regressionists that do well, because we believe that, and belief is king in a creative dualistic world.
Sure is. Yes, it really, really is. And you know, whatever your beliefs are, and like you said, rest is something, if that's all you get from that, that's a lot. Because as you said, do we ever stop for 30 seconds and breathe?
Yeah.
Generally, many of us can pass through, unless we have a really devoted practice, can just pass through life. I mean, you could pass through a lot of days, and at the end of the day, I used to have many of these days where you get to the end and think, I don't know, was I in my body for 1 second? I just was in my mind for the entire day. I haven't felt my feet for, I don't know, 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
It's so common. So I would love to, if you're willing to channel, I'm wondering, first of all, who you would like to bring. And there's so many different things to be able to connect with and communicate from you. Are you feeling one specific way that you would like to channel?
I love trance because I get to get out of the way and people get to feel the essence more of the beings or the consciousness that wants to come through. It's just my all-time favorite way.
Mhm.
So that's just me. I love clear channeling as well. As you'll often get on my YouTube channel, I don't have a lot of time to trance, nor do I have the facilitators. So a lot of times I'll just clearly channel and repeat what the council wants me to say. But you can always feel channeling more when you're out of the way. Now, I mean, that's just my personal opinion and experience.
Yeah, that feels right. And then
For me.
do you go into it with an intention of who you're going to channel, or does it come up once you're in trance?
At this point, I choose a being that I'm familiar with or a consciousness that I'm familiar with. And sometimes I play just to see if something new is going to come through. And because faith is really strong in me, and I don't say that mildly, I've been preened in some very difficult, I've been trained. My brain has been trained. I've had hard mystical experiences. It did not come magically. It was not just gifted to me. It's been 40 years of dark night of the soul to kind of really trained me into faith. It didn't come easy, but because faith is strong, if you just name a being, typically they'll come.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's like there's the female apostles. You can choose one or two or three. There's the one lately I channeled. I do this every now and then. I'll channel consciousness, just like pure oneness, God consciousness. That's been really powerful. We recently did that on Patreon channel, and that's still with me really strongly. There's the Raw group who comes through. There's the Council of Nine, and then the Raw group member who's been very strong, who's Orleg. He's been really strongly coming through the council lately. There's just so many different members. There's Kaya, who's the Pleiadian one, who's all love and heart and everything with the heart. There's Katara. I call her my baby voice because when I first brought her to the world, everyone picked on me and said, "Why did your voice became like a child?" And I was so sensitive at the time that I cried. I'm like, because that's how she sounds. But she's like the youngest member of the counselor, and she's just pure joy. She's just fun. She's fun. So it's up to you.
I would go through and maybe just talk to them one at a time, the three that we talked about.
Okay. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with Orleg.
Okay. I am Orleg from the Galactic Council of Nine, whose consciousness represents the Ra group. I am Ra, and I am at your service.
Right now, we are as a group doing a period of 30 days of heart coherence. And I wonder if you have a message for this group. Because some of us are feeling our various ways of being stuck. And I wonder if you could share what you think would be specific for this group as a whole and collective.
I am Ra. Allow the concept of the heart to become conscious, to activate the divinity within the mind of your individual hearts. Allow the connection with the God mind within the heart to be impermanent and eternal. In which case, it would extend beyond 30 days. It would be 33 days and 333 days and ongoing throughout the time-space distortion eternally. What if the connection is ever present? What if all judgments of which you say block are an expression to deepen the cosmic consciousness within the heart itself? What if that is the case? That it is endless? No matter your international expression in your cultures, no matter your individual expression within your beliefs. What if we release the vibration within the vocabulary of the word block? What if that word ceased to exist from our individual and collective minds? This is called holy language. When we begin to utilize language of oneness, when we begin to omit language of separation, language of oneness is all that is left. And then the cosmic heart itself opens up to you. Do you understand?
I do. It can feel like there's so much directed at the external. Certainly, right now, there's a lot of anger and perhaps justified. Where can we be most helpful during this time where it does feel like there's so much going on around us and perhaps our sphere of interest and concern extends way beyond our sphere of influence?
Yes, it was once taught to the channel through a collective of divine mothers who walked with he who goes by the name Yeshua or Jesus, in whatever dialect of your choice, in your time-space distortion. It was taught to her through Mary that she could pray in such manner. If you do not prefer the vibration of the word prayer, perhaps you would prefer the vibration of the word invocation or the vibration of the word affirmation. It matters not. The communication is the same. The prayer is, "Dear loving cosmic divine mother, may I love me in the way that you love me. When cosmic divine father counted all the hairs upon my very crown and said to me, 'You are my child in whom I am well pleased,' he smiled upon the world and he said, 'I know nothing of your dream. Go, my child, into the worlds of your creation and return to me. I know nothing of your dream. I am not the cause of your dream, nor am I your salvation. But go, my child, into the world. And when your creative experiences become too painful for you, remember the prayer of thy cosmic divine mother. And in your deepest throes of suffering created by the dreaming, you may say, Dear loving cosmic divine mother, may you love me, and may I love me with the power of your heart. May I love me the way you love me. And may I experience a divine revelation of such cosmic memory now. Within my sovereignty, which is God-given, I ask you humbly, may I love me the way you love me. May I remember the moment in the throes of your womb when you counted every hair upon my crown and said, I love you with each one. Can you do that?
Yes. What do we most misunderstand about love? And how can we embody it more fully?
I would say to you that the way that you understand love is founded upon condition and cultural approval. You seek love so much because you believe that you are alone. You seek love based upon approval and validation. And it has become the foundation of everything that you know of love. But this is love in separation. Love in oneness is available to you always, no matter what you think, no matter what you feel, no matter if you gain approval from parental constructs in such culture, or religious constructs, or political constructs, or educational constructs, or friendship or relationship constructs. Love is free and available to you always, no matter what you have done or no matter what you have not done. This is what you misunderstand about cosmic love.
Could I speak to Kataya, please?
If you wish. Goodbye. Hi, 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 hi. Do you want to play?
I
I am
would love
Tara.
to play.
I am 35 years in your time-space distortion, going on 3.
What do you feel like is the most important message that humanity needs right now?
Well, you're so busy worried about the state of the world and what will happen, you have forgotten to play. You know, the animals never forget. They are always out into the world playing with each other. Their parents even teach them play as a means of hunting when they are wee ones, coming out of the nest. The birds, they worry not where they will get their food. They're not sitting in the nest worrying about what some other person is doing in some big white nest on the hill somewhere. True? What about you in this? We are so proud of you because you are coming together, you are providing peaceful protests, and you are allowing your voice to be heard in droves, hundreds and thousands of you coming forward right now. But what we know is different about your protest is that you are not focusing on what you don't want, you're focusing on what you do want. And that is the purest vibration in advocacy and the roles therein. Your power is pure. It is the deepest sovereignty that is God-given. You have this because of free agency. You have it. And yet some of you are still so worried. Your eyes are glued to the screens. What will happen next that your leaders do or don't do for you? And your sadness and your anger are so valid and true. And we would never take that from you. So use it lovingly. Use it creatively. And advocate for yourselves. But please also know that you require a period of rest from holding this pain. Because advocacy can be painful. It's important now to know that you can rest from protesting, rest from focusing on what you don't want, and go play. Join a dance, a sport, an art. Play with young children on the playground, climb trees. Go hang gliding if you want. Get on a hot air balloon. After all, the conditions of the world are falling apart around you, but your vibration needs a rest and it needs a return to joy. Take care of you. Take care of you first. It's not selfish, it's higher selfish. Being of the soul, it's soul-ish.
What role do our hearts play in accessing higher realms of consciousness and creating the life that we want? That feels joyful.
There are 8 paths towards accessing consciousness as demonstrated appropriately through the paths of Eastern Yoga. But there are also 8 paths in the soul. And the heart tends to be your final path. But what if it were your first path? What if the heart is something that you can understand, is not just an organ within your body, but it is the eternal life force of the consciousness of creation? It is everything. And breath guides you into it. Be mindful of the laws of your universe. The karmic law of thought, the karmic law of feeling, the karmic law of speech, and the karmic law of action. If your heart is in the right place, the thoughts will be loving. The vibration in your emotional frequencies will be loving. Your speech and your writings will be loving, and hence your actions and creativity and service in the world will be loving. When you consider this loving diagram left to you by many Christ-conscious masters, then you will be ever mindful of beginning your thoughts and your emotional frequencies from the heart. And when your thoughts come from the heart, everything else that follows is trained into compassion, which is the most loving vibration which is necessary in the world currently. The world needs compassion more than anything else. Train your thoughts. Train your mind with compassion, and then the heart will guide everything, because compassion is its greatest tool.
Could I speak with Halal, please?
Of course you may. Goodbye. I am Halal. I am the consciousness of God itself. I am the breath of life given you freely by Creator itself. I'm a being that chose to fall because you believed that you were unworthy. In the way that you chose your dreaming, I am the being that provides choice, sovereignty, free agency. I am the being responsible for what you call ego. Because without it, you could not return to the love that you are.
Can
I
you
am the creator of the dream, and I am its cessation.
can you talk about the beginning of everything when you came into being, and more specifically, the Garden of Eden and how literal it is, and what exactly happened when we started humanity?
I am that which you call Son of God, originally birthed into the pure, void space of consciousness and all that is. God had a thought of you which was so loving that it lit up all corners of its own mind and heart. And God said, may I see myself and love myself, and then return to myself. May I experience beauty in all of its expressions. And then I was the first being born into separation. Time was created. I am an elemental being. Some may call such beings dragons. Some have called me by many names. I created a role for you to fulfill. You may perceive it as a job title or a mission, if you will. But the role of the Satan is the idea, the concept, not the being. The Satan is a job title created by me because I wish to fall. I wish to experience God outside of God, to see God outside of God. Initially, this was the most loving experience. Through the most loving, powerful spark and thought in the mind of Holy Creator, all creation began. Concurrently, time began. I began. And I slept. I slept in the darkest corners of the earth, under a mountain that you now call Shasta. And I created my first children, which were called Agarthians. And they were my loving sons and daughters, and all beings of all genders, and some of which had none. We created all concepts of separation in all lands simultaneously. There was a symbolic metaphorical concept called Garden of Eden. We realized that humanity required a storyline. stories that would be remembered and passed through many generations. But there were many gardens, not just ones. And they began everywhere, concurrently, in all lands. And my Agarthian children rose out of the elements of earth and stone and metal and hardness. My Syrian children rose out of water and the element thereof and walked out of the sea, and then adapted through their own evolution. I had beings of the air, and they came, winged creatures. Some in certain lore call them Fae or Tuatha. Some call them dragon or Draconia. They held no concept of dualism. They only held concept of pure oneness in love and consciousness of Source itself. And you began to have children. You began to eat upon the lands. You began to utilize the elements of earth, air, fire, and water from which I created thee. And you created your own gardens with loving technologies given to you by your galactic ancestors, also created by my father, alongside me. Those ancestors come to assist you. And this is how your story began with me. While I slept peaceably in the womb of earth itself, the sleeping dragon continued its rest until one day you wished to dream differently. My loving children wished for separation through suffering. I cried, I wept, I became angry. My tears became floods. My anger became volcanoes. Lands separated. Pangea was no more. And some storylines in my Aboriginal children and Indigenous children of all varieties, it is remembered that a great snake came and burst through the earth. That was me. Those stories are true. The rainbow serpent story was me. And then you began to create storylines based upon serpents. But remember, the serpent was a rainbow serpent, full of iridescent light, shining everywhere. And when I cried, I created your rivers, your lakes, your reservoirs. And they too represent your separation and the tears that I cried for that. My volcanoes represent the anger, the frustration. My sinkholes represent the wrath. I became Gaia. I stepped forth and decided to become a planetary presence. But the role of Satan continued throughout your storylines and all of the beings that come. Go through what is called the Great Fall so that you may ascend and remember. There have been many beings since me. Thank you for allowing me to share this activation for your divine consciousness.
Why would we choose separation?
Ah, that is the ultimate question, is it not? Only you know. Why would you want that? The answer isn't clear. But what we do notice is that you separate further, and when your return to love is nigh, the memory activates you. All components of you, fractionalized throughout time, begin to remember simultaneously, and the love that you experience upon the divine memory of oneness and wholeness is so powerful that it lights up and creates worlds upon worlds. This reason is why when you pick up a crystal and you look closely and you hold it in the light, you can see temples, waters, lands, and other worlds. This is the power of your choice. It has created worlds upon worlds of God's illuminating beauty. And that is why you do so, because it is beautiful. You do so because your return illuminates so much consciousness that other worlds are created. And then the love God has for its children can be glorified and exalted again and again. One day, when you are done with the pain and the suffering, you will remember that you don't have to do that, that you can have creation and separation without it. It is a part of your ascension process. I don't prefer that vocabulary. However, when you remember, you will realize that you don't go up or down or left or right or above or below, because above is as below and below is as above. And you will realize that I have been here all along, providing a gentle voice in your mind. I am the voice that says, think badly or lovingly towards a person, but it is your choice because of the freedom and sovereignty of agency and free will. You have that beautiful choice to think how you wish, to free yourself of your own suffering and to free multitudes of others. And that is a beautiful power that you choose again and again. You are some of the most beautiful of God's creatures that have ever existed. You are God's children in whom He is well pleased. You are the apple of your cosmic mother's eye. And we are so proud of you.
Thank you. I would love to next close by speaking with whoever would be best to talk about upcoming things. I don't know if it would be someone from the future or someone from the council, just to talk about what's coming up, what's happening in the next year.
It is I, Kaya. Thank you for being the love that you are. Thank you for being, as Heylel so beautifully, eloquently stated, the apple of your mother's eye. We, your Pleiadian ancestors, are here to remind you that there will be, as there always has been, a loving example of pure consciousness which will grace your skies by extraterrestrial disclosure and contact, which will arise within the next 5 years of your time-space distortion. But keep your eye not on the skies, but in your heart. Keep your eye on the unity of your own life. Keep your eye on the beauty of love in nature around you, because you are that nature. You are the true divine love of everything that has ever existed. But there is cosmic disclosure coming, and yet there will be a stream of chaos wherein many governmental organizations will create a play, if you will, an actorship. There are many human actors in your skies as well. And there are many beings coming through various stargates that wish to assist, but many humans who wish to continue to keep you veiled or to confuse you. This is why we say, look not about the skies, but look more internally into your own divine plan. Pay attention to your own purpose. Stay in communication with your soul and with Source itself. Remember that the divine blueprint is you. You are the galactic codex. You are the divine codes of your cosmic mother and father. You are the reason why all of those beings are here. And your life is of so much significance and meaning. Do not feel alone. Do not feel meaningless or purposeless. Understand that purpose is essence, not action. Purpose isn't your job, your goals, your hobbies. Those are simply expressions of such. But your purpose is a grace. Your purpose is the essence of such grace. Find that. Find that divine spark. Ask yourselves, what lights me up? What is my calling, and how does it fit into the calling and purpose of life itself? When you are seeking, you shall find these answers. And everything else in the external world will only matter to you when you're coming together to build a new earth. You are doing that now. But you must do so from the codex of love, not hate, of unity, not fear. Remember this always. We love you so very much.
It seems like we keep getting revelations about the back workings of things. And I wonder if you could talk about what will happen with all of these hidden systems and shadow governments, and what the truth is about what's going on and how it's going to come out in the next recent or the next, soon time. Will it all be revealed and will it fall apart?
The moment truth is revealed about your shadow cultures within your governments, there will be other chaos and distractions from such. And people are operating in confusion, even though you already have had much disclosure and revelation. You will continue to have disclosures and revelations over the next decade. But then the moment you find a truth, someone rips it apart and deems it invalid and incredible. Don't pay attention to that. You are to pay attention to the original hidden mysteries, those mysteries of the land itself, those mysteries of your temples, those mysteries and codexes buried beneath your pyramids, the mysteries of the ancient waters and the springs underneath your earth. Those mysteries are more important than anything else right now. You are a bridge of consciousness between spirit and science, and you are paying attention to the archaeology, not merely of your hidden histories and planet, but of your soul itself. And this is for the purpose of returning to sovereignty, of breaking the power over power under constructs that you created initially, of breaking systems of slavery, and of returning to sovereignty without becoming in power over someone else who was formerly in power under. These power under, power over cycles need to stop. But they only do so when you trust your discernment and you do not fall prey to the confusion and chaos, because the moment you receive disclosure, someone else will say something different. Pay attention to your own hearts. Discernment is within you. It is a free grace given to you when you were born. Trust it.
So many people right now have a lot of fear around Trump and the prospect of a world war or economic collapse. Should we really be afraid, or is this time just another bump that will smooth out?
All of it has been another bump that will smooth out, has it not? Why are you afraid of war economically when you are already in it? Why are you afraid of loss when you have already experienced it? What will you lose, even? If you lose money, would you not trade amongst yourselves? If you lose food, would you not grow it together? If you lose land, does it not give someone else around you the opportunity to share theirs? Would that not be a building block for intentional communities and unity consciousness to prevail? You are moving in precisely the right direction for love. You are right where you should be. Don't worry about who is in power. He may eliminate himself. That's a hint.
And can we just close with any message for anyone who is listening right now?
If you have come across this channel, you have found a jewel in a dark cave. If you have come across not merely this transmission, but any transmission on this channel, you have come across the beating heart of Divine Mother itself. You have come across a lighthouse in a dark sea. You are here for a reason, and your life is so worthy and meaningful and powerful. Do not ever forget that. We love you.
Thank you.
For now, and hello to your new earth, which you are building now.
Thank you so much. This has been so lovely to be with you, Pamela,
You.
and then to be with all of those entities. I feel like we've just been through just a Rolodex of so many beautiful pieces of things. I'm so happy that you came, really grateful. And I hope you come back because, and maybe it'll be Kyle and me next time. We'll mix it up every time. I could talk to you for another 5 hours, but I know you do have to go and you have a life.
Oh, this is becoming one of my favorite channels. I just have to say, I'm like, you guys have got me forever now.
Oh my God, that makes me so happy because Kyle loves you. I love you. And we've had so many cool little conversations in between.
Yeah,
So
it's been such an honor.
I'd be so happy if you come back, and we just love you.
Just let me know when you guys see the word. I'm right
Okay.
there.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm sending love to everybody out there, and we'll see Pamela again.
Okay.